Tonight's episode of the 31st Lap Podcast is brought to you by DirtTrackDigest.com. If it's on dirt, it's on Dirt Track Digest.
This is the 31st Lap Podcast, recorded live in the studios of FingerLakes1.com in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now, your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon. I think you look fine, John. You look just fine over there.
Hey, how come none of the other TVs are working?
Like that?
Yeah. There, we get to see something. I don't want to look at myself.
Well,
Yeah, we don't want to look at you either.
Mike Malice
Works
here.
both ways there, bummus.
John Bomas. Also here, episode number 136. We'll be catching up with Rocky Warner here in just about 15 minutes or so. Talking to him about his win over at the Yates County Speedway during Dutch Hogue National Open weekend, starting last and rallying to win the Sportsman program. And then after that, we'll be talking with Ryan Smith, who's back on the 31st lap for the second time in about 10 weeks or so after he won
So
New
we got
Egypt.
Ryan back, huh?
Yeah, we have he won at New Egypt, and they turned around and he won against the World of Outlaws. Drove a masterful race, getting by Donnie Schatz and holding him at bay to win in the World of Outlaws return to Port Royal, which that was the first time they'd been there in 10 years or something like that. So that was a good deal for Ryan, and I talked to his car owner today. He was real excited about coming on the show and had a lot of compliments for the 31st lap, actually. So that we
They must not listen.
yeah, it's, I thought it was he spoke very highly of the show and spoke very highly of the interview that we
He
did
didn't
with him last
compliment
time.
because Mike and I have spent a lot of time away. Is that why he was complimenting?
Yeah, because we were not here.
He goes, "You guys always do such an awesome job. Is the show available live?"
Yeah.
Yes, it's available live.
Sure is.
Yep. So I thought that was cool. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you guys aren't as excited about getting compliments.
Well, we're just trying to figure out why.
Yeah, because there's always a reason.
Yes.
No.
Maybe
And when you
maybe
spend a lot of
because-
time away from the show and all of a sudden it's getting compliments, it makes you wonder.
What are you doing here anyway? Why?
I don't know. I had nothing going on. What can I say? I won't be here next week, though.
No, Mike was already telling me that he
I'm
wasn't
out.
gonna be here
I will
either.
be in Charlotte.
I will be
Actually,
here.
I'll be on the point. Actually, I might be landing right about now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Somewhere
are
around there.
I won't be here. I will be in Charlotte. I will be leaving Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning.
So I'll be here solo next week, and then the 13th we're going to be off.
We are?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Oh,
to
there
me.
you go. There, Mrs. Bomas. She was worried because that's our
Anniversary.
it's our wedding anniversary.
I'm going to be in Topeka.
What you're saying is he can't be here on your wedding anniversary?
No, she was figuring she was figuring that I was going to be here and that we wouldn't be able to go do something.
Oh, okay.
So
Well-
there you go.
What's she want to do stuff with you for anyway?
I have no idea. Good, God only knows.
It's a question that even Mrs. Bomas is searching for the answer for.
Yeah, and she can't find it on Google.
It's not good. It's not good, man. You don't want that. Anything going on in the chat room?
Zoopy's talking about rolling wheels, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we got.
I don't want to waste. We only got 13 minutes. I don't want to bull that topic first.
Well,
I'll save that one
What are we
for
calling? Who we calling first?
Rocky.
We got Rocky Warner's up
7:30?
first. Yeah, 7:30, and then we
Yeah,
got Ryan
Ryan at
after that at 7:45. But you,
Then we'll go rolling
you
wheels.
talk a little bit about 5 Mile Point.
Well, we can. You know what? We can talk about that.
You want- I
Get on
mean,
it.
we can-
Well,
we
5
can do
Mile
that.
Point is bagged it for this weekend.
Yeah.
And
Forecast is not all that great.
cold
they
and
put it
snow.
off to next week.
So they're going to run the weekend next weekend,
Yep.
just like the first week of November against that. And the ROC championship will, for a second year in a row, be decided in the spring,
Yeah, April.
Now, I'll take it. I
Which
don't
is
see.
exactly what happened a year ago.
Yeah, it happened last year. I hate that.
What?
I hate that that they're carrying it over. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I think you
Yeah, I'm
race
not
you
either.
race all year for the money, because I mean there's just so
I
many.
want them to race for it, but I don't want them to race for it next year.
Right, I want them to race for it this year. I agree.
Yeah.
I want to see them race for
Things
it. I agree.
change over the winter. You don't know
Right.
what guys are going to show up with, what their situations
Right, yeah.
are.
What happens to
what their
guys in the
deals are.
rides?
Look at
and-
the momentum, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
all that's gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it just totally changes the whole complexion of it, and
The whole dramatics of, of the championship being wrapped up in one race, and it's when it's close. it just, I don't know. It kind of kills that whole. Not even. I know what Chris is saying with their momentum as far as maybe drivers, what they might be on at that moment, but also the momentum
now,
of the championship.
present,
Right,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But also, it kills the momentum of the championship fight. All that you get all hyped up for,
Gone.
and
The tension.
Yeah.
The tension.
yeah, it's all
Yeah,
gone
you got
now.
6 months now to worry about it. And again, what happens if Matt Shepard and Norm Hansel part ways?
Yeah.
I mean, he ran Norm's car for the entire deal, so now what's he going to run somebody else? Like, it just
Right.
there's so many other variables that happen in the wintertime that
Yeah.
I just think you
Yeah,
got
because you don't know what guys' situations are going to be.
right. You
like.
got to run it now, or you got to find out. You got to at least make the effort.
Yes. If you can't get it in, you can't get it in. But
Right.
at least try to get it in this year.
I agree, 100%. That's I know I'm being crazy with that, but I just think you need.
November's not that jam-packed with racing.
It's not terrible. I mean, there's some
No,
Sundays.
but it's also not that jam-packed with good weather either.
Well, I get
Yeah, well,
I get
then-
that.
okay, then why
But
you
at least
running
give it an effort.
If we're arguing that, then why are you running your championship race in November
I agree completely.
in New York? I mean,
I
that's-
agree completely. Why are we starting?
But the thing is,
Well, we start the
this
racing
is-
season in February.
This has been
There are
well,
still-
but not necessarily up here. Does it start in February? But it's not uncommon to see guys in the Pennsylvania tracks trying to run races in March. Right? They don't start in
Well,
February.
no, Lincoln Speedway.
February.
Their first weekend is
Oh,
the
they
last
are.
weekend in February.
Yeah.
Every year. Some years it's really good.
And
Some
9
years
times out of
it's
10 it gets snowed out. But
yeah, but well, 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. But when they do
They at
get it
least
in,
try.
when they do get it in, it's usually effing
It's a
cold.
huge race,
and it
too.
is packed.
yes.
Packed.
Yep.
You couldn't put another ass in the stands there. I mean, it's packed.
But the thing is this isn't the last race in the Northeast. There's other
No,
tracks
there's
racing in New York.
The Gobbler,
Way
the Gobbler
beyond,
comes up.
way beyond this.
I mean, you look at the weekends coming up.
This
Like
next
next
couple
weekend.
weeks.
I mean, next weekend is Charlotte. So obviously, technically, you should just say screw it. This is it. But I understand not screwing the guys that are doing both.
I think they should
I get it.
race for it. but at
Okay,
least
right.
try to
And then
race
the
for
following
it
weekend,
this
you've
year.
got Bridgeport on Friday, Saturday. I don't know what Bridgeport's rain date is. Maybe it's Sunday.
I'm assuming their built-in rain date was Sunday. That's why
right,
they did
so you're not
Friday and
doing it.
Saturday.
Then the following weekend is the 22nd, which I don't think there's anything.
no,
There's the dirt car banquet
but
on Saturday night, and then Sunday.
it's not like the first time they've run a race on the dirt car.
right, and what
banquet.
about running it on Sunday of that weekend? If you don't want to run against the banquet, run it on Sunday afternoon.
Or Friday night?
Yeah, or whichever.
Should we take
you
the
know?
show on the road and go to the banquet?
No, because I'm going to be at a Crunch game. Just saying. It's the indoor game in the Dome. Got tickets. It's going to be awesome.
I was looking at Crunch tickets today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's fun. It's a good time.
I love going to the Amerks games
I'm
mean,
going to go to that
it's-
tomorrow night.
I guess I'm
You're
going.
going to
Amerks.
in Syracuse, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm talking about going to Blue Cross Arena.
That arena sucks.
Another 5 mile.
Well, I'm sorry that we don't have the palatial confines that the Crunch play in.
The hole that we play in. But it's loud.
Another 5 mile postponed Saturday. I guess I'm going to the SU football game on Saturday.
Are you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Who they playing?
Burkhart texted me this morning and wanted to know if I wanted a ticket.
Who they playing?
NC State, I think.
I've never been to a football game, but
No.
I've been once before.
never
I've
been.
actually, to my knowledge, I've only been in the Dome once, and it was for Monster Jam. We got to see them warm up, and then we had to leave
Oh,
because
that's right,
Allen
yes.
completely melted down.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I remember that because that was a couple of years ago.
Yep. Yep.
He didn't like the noise.
Yeah, you got spooked. It was noise wasn't the big deal. It was the fireworks that set him off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fireworks.
Yeah, he's not a big fan of the fireworks. not so much.
Fireworks are awesome.
Apparently not when you're. I might have rolled the dice a little bit too early on that anyway.
You want
taking
young?
him in.
You want to see what's gonna happen?
Gotta start him young.
What?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, I might have
Yeah.
pushed it a little bit too early. He was.
So-
I think he was 3 or when we went there.
So I don't know.
Didn't
I
go
mean,
well.
it just.
Brian Tompkins posted pictures of his kid. One of his boys was shooting bow and arrow in the backyard, dialing in for deer season, raising a young hunter.
Well, that's the time of the year it is now, right?
Yep.
Hunting season.
You a real big hunter, are you, Mike?
Never. Nope.
It's cold. It's early. I don't want to go.
Who does that? I don't wanna
How
go
many legs do they have that you're hunting?
Yeah. I want to go sit in a tree stand and freeze my ass off. There's nothing. That doesn't sound fun. You know what? Everyone's like, oh, I'll go to, like I'm going to go to the.
I know. I'm gonna get up at the crack
If
of
it
dawn.
doesn't involve car racing at this point in the year, I'm not going to sit outside and freeze my ass off to do it.
I'm gonna go sit in a tree stand. In
And
the
even
cold,
that is negotiable at this point.
covered in dough
Oh,
urine.
please. If there was a hockey game in the middle of January and it was 0 out, you'd be there.
Yeah, I would go, but again, it's got to be. There has to be a very good reason because even going to the
John,
race,
if he went, he'd be there and he would complain about it the whole time, which he never does at races.
No, I didn't complain the last time. It was all races. You got no idea. But no, it was. It's one thing to go to an event like a hockey game, but at this point in the year, when you get 112 or 115 races in, it's like I don't need to freeze.
No thanks.
I don't need to freeze my balls
Not
off.
interested.
It is too late in the year. I got enough racing in. I can take a break. I just need to get my November race in, and I'm good. And I'm going to Charlotte, so I'm going to get 1 or 2 days in. Knock on wood.
It's going to be 3 days.
Don't do
What are you
that.
talking about?
Oh, no.
No, I'm just saying because I need 1 race in November, and that keeps my continual month streak going, which is like up to 28 months or whatever.
Did you see Alan Johnson's streak is like 20-some years
Was it
now?
30 years? I thought it was 30 years.
Yeah, of winning or at least one race, right?
Right, yeah. Whose car was he driving?
When did? Yeah, I never.
I didn't
find
know
out what car he drove.
I didn't see. It was a
I'm
white
assuming
car.
he had the 55, didn't he?
Was
Yes,
it the 55? Was it?
I think so.
I didn't look. I saw a J on it, but I didn't see.
I think it was the 55.
I didn't see what it was.
What year did that streak start? Does anybody know?
Well, if it's 30 years ago,
do the
dumbass,
math.
do the math.
I don't know. Is it 30 years or you were saying it with a question mark?
I think it's
'Cause
30
he
years.
said 20 something and you said 30. So
I believe it was.
I know it was
30
some
years.
sort of streak.
Yeah, it was been a long time.
One win, and however.
Yeah, every
many
year.
years.
Yeah, it was the Ricky Rudd streak,
Yeah.
as it were, you know?
Yes.
Well, I'm looking for pictures
least
here.
one win every
and
year.
It doesn't look like a 55 behind him. Maybe it is. Unicast Crusher Parts.
I
is
thought
the
I
sponsor
saw.
on it.
I thought I saw the 55. Maybe I didn't. Maybe
Might
it
be. It's
wasn't.
got a J on it though, so. But I can't see the number behind it because he's standing in front of it. So that defeats the purpose, and that's the only photo of it in the gallery. Yep. So I don't know. Got a lot of pictures from Eastern States. Holy bejesus.
What, the mud?
Ugh, that was a mucky mess on Saturday. But what year is Eastern State's not a muddy mess in the infield? It's a muddy mess every year.
Just glad it's over.
My memory failed me completely. It was
You
his
hate Eastern
40th.
States.
It was his 40th consecutive
40
year.
years. Holy
40th year. So
Yeah, you guys were real close.
Okay,
Yeah,
so do the math on that. It's only 10 more years, so just because I was off 10 years. Big freaking deal.
So what, it start in 74?
I don't know. Get your calculator out,
75, 74, 75, whatever it
somewhere
is.
in there. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Where did I get 20 from? That was way off.
40.
In my head, I was thinking 27,
Well,
28.
it's not to say that he couldn't have had a year somewhere along the way where he didn't win. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Where it was
the
broken
streak
up,
would've had a-
and then it started over.
Yeah. Oh, well.
That's insane. 40 years.
It's a long time.
I'm not even 40 years old.
Yeah, he's literally been winning races
Longer than
since
we've been
before he-
alive.
Yeah.
How about you, John?
Not me.
No, John must have been what? You must have been 7 or 9 when he started winning races.
So close to saying an F word right now.
11, 12.
Oh, man.
Very close.
So that was it. We'll get to Eastern States, too, after we get to Rocky, and then we'll go from there.
So I guess Brett Hearn does okay over there.
Jeez. I mean, dominated.
Did you
That's it.
Did you
Dominated.
enjoy it? Did you enjoy your?
I have my positives and my negatives, which I will go through later on in the program.
I know you promised.
We'll
to
tease
do
that. We'll
The
tease
positive, the positive is that it's over.
that. Shut up. Quit being a hater. Always a hater on the freaking Eastern States. Whatever. I got my positives.
Oh, wait, hold on. Yellow flag's out. Slow down.
Those are negatives. Yes, I agree. Too many of those. So, but other than that,
Chris is getting Rocky on the line right at the moment.
so we will be able to chat with him.
What's he doing?
Okay, so he's
Nice.
so he's gonna freeze just for us.
Tell him to put a jacket on.
It is cold out. Well, all right, looks like we got you locked in there, Rocky. And hey, man, thanks for coming on the 31st lap. We appreciate it. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
No complaints. No complaints. I mean, other than this weekend getting washed out, which kind of stinks. But how does that affect you? Obviously, with the Grit Sportsman race now being moved back a week.
It does as far as planning. This was kind of a jammed up weekend for me, anyways. Most people know I do a used tire business for a living, and I had to go to Connecticut to buy tires Saturday morning, so it kind of takes that stress off a little bit. But it kind of, when you got a race plan, it's kind of when you kind of get your mindset on it and you get the car ready, you kind of feel in the mood to do it. You want to do it then, not wait, obviously, But other than that, really nothing. We had a Glenridge banquet next week, which is next Saturday. Obviously, race on Saturday, but Mr. Harpel going to work with us a little bit and run us a little earlier.
That's good. Coming into this event, obviously you're the Grit Sportsman Series point leader, and that came with some work this past weekend at Yates County. Take us through going all the way to the back and then racing your way up through and ultimately getting the victory, and then having them tech the car and take the motor afterwards and do what they had to do there too.
Well, the biggest thing was that obviously getting tangled up early kind of set us back a little bit, but last year I went there it was a 200 lapper, and I ran it on a soft tire, and we went the first 100 laps. We led the first 100. We came in, it wasn't grained, it wasn't really hot. I said, let's go back out with it. We went out for 30 laps in the second 100, and it was gone. So this year we kind of said, we can't take a chance on tires. We kind of went with a harder tire. We went with Utica Rome tires, and I was worried about them firing off early, and they actually fired pretty early. And then we had that long green stretch where after we got in the wreck, we started last. We went 54 laps, and it was under green flag conditions. So, being on the green that long, having a harder tire, I think helped us pick up a lot of positions. And I could kind of, at the end of that green run, I could look up front. I could see the 70 car, which I knew he was good. I could see Connor. I could see, the blue light of the 29G of Gray. I could see them guys knew they started all in the top three positions. So I knew we were doing decent, and then the yellow come out. And they didn't take the lap cars out. So I didn't know where I was. I lined up about 10th or 12th or whatever, but I think we were like 6th or 7th at that point. We drove under 50 green flag laps that far forward and could see the leaders, So I knew we had a good car. At that point, when yellows breed yellows, so I was kind of worried about more yellows coming out. Fortunately, we didn't have a ton of them. There was a few, but there was 6, 7, 8, 10 laps apart where I could get heat back in the tires and just keep making passes. And then when I got to the front, I got up to second at one point, but I was lining up third because Nick Guerrero was a lap car, but he was trying to get back on the lead lap, so they left him up there in front. Lined up third, and I think Casey Pad with an 18 car got back around me on the outside. I said, oh, man, the outside groove's coming in. So I ended up, he got by me, a yellow come out, put me fourth in running order, which I was actually third at the time, and put me on the outside. So I ended up making the outside work and swung around him for the pass for the win, and it just kind of, I think, you get some times when everything's going your way, and there's times when everything's going against you, and it seemed like everything's going for us this week.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, because you know how the racing gods are. One week they can go for you, and then the next week they can take it all away from you.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? That's the thing, too. I feel this whole season's been like that. I've been dealing with a lot of things off the track with family issues, health issues, and I think, sometimes everything happens for a reason, and there's some things you just can't change. And I think they're just kind of making the best out of our time, and and like I said, I think everything happens for a reason. And it's just almost like everything was going for us that Friday, in that race. 100 lappers I usually don't do well at because I'm not very patient, and I just kind of, like I said, everything kind of fell into place. And like I said, everything happens for a reason. You know what I mean? Maybe we got taken out for a reason. But like I said, it's just kind of one of those deals where I'm super happy. It was obviously an awesome victory. And then obviously take the motor afterwards, which I don't mind. I'm one of those guys that pushes for it. I've asked Matty D to do it. I've asked Glenridge to do it. Mm-hmm. I told the Grit Series, that they should have done it. They should have hit the top 3 in points or top 5 in points at a random time. You know what I mean? Be considerate of what's going on with racing. Obviously, taking this late in the year kind of doesn't really make a lot of sense. But on the other hand, there's no racing going on during the week, so you have a whole week to get the motor done. So I'm happy they took it. They got it back right away, which you couldn't ask for anything more. I mean, they had it done Saturday. You know what I mean? So they're very professional about it. We were very good about it, and I just think all around together, doing this kind of thing, maybe go a little deeper than dyno, but doing this kind of stuff was what breeds good racing and going to make the series grow.
How does that process work when they take the engine? Do they actually force you to take the motor out of the car and take the engine with them, or how does that work? I've never been around when that's actually happened, so I've always wanted to ask somebody.
What happened was, I had mine taken at Brewerton a couple years ago, or last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was. They took it, they put it in the tech inspector's son's trailer. They took it to the place, and they dyno it at Gypsum. This one here was a deal with Grit where they took their stuff out of their trailer for their merchandise trailer, and we put the motor in there, and then I put my locks on the trailer. That way there was no question of, because they're taking the motor home with them.
Mm-hmm.
No question of ever anything happening or anything like that. It was just, to me, it was about all on the best way to go about it. Put my locks on it, and then when I got there on Saturday to Henry's, I unlocked the trailer, then they dynoed it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they take it out with the track, and then take it with them, which obviously is the best way.
Right. So then nobody can tamper with it. Period.
Right.
Right. Exactly. I mean, if I took it home that night and if I didn't leave the motor, I can do whatever I want to do with it.
Right. Exactly.
So obviously, they had to do something that night, as far as either taking the car or the motor. And at first we were they didn't really have everything in order, but it kind of just everything fell. Like I said, everything else fell into place where they still had the merchandise trailer put in there, and they took it with them.
So, Grit Sportsman action here now. We're shifting to the next week. We kind of talked about it. You're the point leader. For you and your career, what would it mean to add that title to this year? I mean, you've already had an impressive year. I mean, we can even talk about that too. I mean, 2 track championships. You got the Fonda Speedway track title. You've got the track championship at Glen Ridge. I mean, I think double-digit wins, etc. I mean, what would it mean to wrap it all up with a Grit title?
I think, to tell you honestly, it's kind of awesome. I'm a little disappointed. More guys didn't follow the series, and more guys run a little bit more faithful to it. You got Dave Marcachelli, but at the end there, when they started having rainouts during July, they started stacking these races up, and it was a point where he couldn't take the time off work. You got Nick Guerreri, where he kind of came in late, so he didn't do the beginning races, so he kind of felt he was out of the points. It means a lot, obviously, to have a series like that, to go out and then travel half across the countryside, but which that was part of the problem. But travel half across the countryside and be able to win that title, to me, is just awesome. We went to tracks we've never been to before, snagged up wins, tracks we've been to minimum amount of times, ran up the top 3. Obviously that means a lot to us. And like I said, to win a championship the first year, the second year of the series, but first year really traveling out and making a double-digit races, it means a lot.
Talk a little bit about, back in old school racing, you saw a lot of guys do this where your Saturday night track rains out and you go racing and you find some place that it's not raining. I know you're one guy that is willing to do that. Like if Fonda rains out and Fulton's racing, we've seen you make the trek up and run at Fulton. What is it about your program, or why do you guys still do that? Why do you have that old school mentality? Is that why you do it?
Honestly, I'm a race fan, and obviously a race car driver. I'm a huge race fan, though. I look at a lot of times when I go to those races, I'm going to watch. Like if I go to an ROC show with a sportsman, race sportsman, I'm going. I want to go watch that race anyway, so I go with it to just do it. The rainout deal, it really frustrates me. A lot of guys don't do it more. It's hard to go to the Valley because the Valley to me is not a lot of fun. It's not very. You're not going to come from deep in the field and win a race, especially in a crate car. You know what I mean? Fulton is a blast. One of my favorite tracks to race at, so that obviously helps in the decision. But I asked myself the same thing. Back in the day, you'd have 5, 6, 7, 8 guys doing it. They couldn't wait. They're chomping at the bit when it rained out. I have a good group base of people where they don't always want, some other race car, like Luke Horning and some other guys, they don't want to go race necessarily, but they want to go to the races as well. Just because it rained out at Fonda, they want to go somewhere. So they might say, hey, I'll tow you up with my truck and pay for gas or something. I usually get a lot of outside help with gas in the truck or a truck towing me to offset the cost. So it makes it a little easier to go do them things. And it's just a lot of fun. It's kind of something different. Honestly, I'm kind of bored of racing at Fonda every week. It's kind of, I've been doing it for so long, it's not a lot of fun to me anymore. So traveling out and going out to like Fulton or somewhere else to race just makes it a lot more fun for me, Well,
I got a question for you. Talking about that, what for you was more fun to drive? I mean, we've seen some impressive drives when you drove pro stocks on a regular basis, and now that you're up into the sportsman ranks full time here, what one for you has been more fun to drive? And is the sportsman as much fun as the pro stock, or vice versa, or which is it?
I've obviously had a lot more moments in the sportsman. When I raced pro stock, I ran Fonda, Glen Ridge, Utica, Rome, and I won championships at all those tracks with the pro stock, but I didn't get to go out and travel. Being that there's not pro stocks, it kind of ties in with the not having fun at one track. The pro stock classes are a dying breed at most of the tracks you travel to. So as of right now, I'm having more fun with the sportsman, but my heart really lies with if you ever watch a full fender race at a track, I'm usually up on the wall at Fonda watching the pro stocks and the street stocks, or if there's any full fender divisions anywhere, I'm usually watching those classes. because, like I said, that's where my heart lies with them. I would love to be racing them full time still.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of these kind of frown upon it when we've done what we've done on sportsmen. So if I had my choice, I'd still have a pro stock and be racing both. But I do have more fun in the sportsman because I get to go to different tracks, which I'm not allowed to because of the fact that they don't have the pro stocks at all the tracks. So I would say sportsman via the purposes I can travel, and there's a lot of big races for us.
Talk a little bit about what
I'm trying to think of anybody else that has gone from made that transition from pro stock to sportsman and shown as much success as Rocky has. Because that's not a transition that we've seen.
Usually, it's not an easy one to make.
Yeah, right? It's not one that lends itself well to success. I think Jip Ortiz. Ortiz.
Joey Ladasor in recent years, I would think of that.
Yeah,
has had some success with
it. He's been in a lot of stuff. Didn't he have a sprint car at one point too? Didn't he?
No, that's his brother Lee.
Oh, Lee. Okay,
yeah. Rocky, question coming in here on the chat line. If you can believe this one's from Doug Zupan. If Utica Rome goes 602 next year, which there's rumors out there, speculation, but nobody knows because the rumor is that it's been sold. So until we have proof of that or evidence, we don't know. But if they go 602, would you consider going there to run for the big money and the NASCAR money?
Yeah, that right now is obviously we've heard the kind of the same rumors. I just went and bought tires from Tom Cullen. I said, I heard they might go crate, but they're waiting until they're waiting to the banquet to tell everybody. And then I heard that it might be sold, but they're waiting to the banquet to tell everybody. I guess it's a heck of a way to sell banquet tickets, and it's a nice banquet to go to anyway. Yeah, I think, as I believe it right now, as I've been told, if Gene stays there and he stays NASCAR, I think he's going to work with Glenridge, and they're going to be both to be NASCAR from what I've been rumored. So there'll be a Friday, and my Sundays will open up. And obviously, we'd like to make the trek up there. As long as the pay is decent, and we can afford to go up there every Sunday, we'll definitely be there.
Yeah, it's a place you've run well there too in the past.
Yeah, no, there was 2 races there this year that we could attend, and we won both of them. So yeah, we've I tell you, it's been a place I loved. It. I didn't do so well with the pure stock. I think I was just underclassed with having the street stock rules against their rules. It was just underclassed. We went there with the pro stock, and our first time out, we won with it. We won a championship up there, you know what I mean? We won races up there, and this year we won both our grit races that were at Utica Rome we won. So it's been, we've had a lot of success there. I really like the place. It's one of the places you can go 3-4 wide and never touch a fender. You can put a body on at the beginning of the season. If you race only at Utica Rome, you can go way into the season and have just rock dings, and that'd be about it.
You ran a modified a little bit last year. And then this year, you kind of, I'm not going to say you ran a full-time whatever. You ran a handful of races at Glenridge. And this year, you kind of stepped back, went back to just predominantly sportsman. What was the decision-making process that went through that as to electing to stay with the 602 rather than maybe make that next step?
Well, it ties along with the whole conversation we've been having. I like to go out and travel. Racing Glenridge only, I could probably race a Glenridge modified and be very competitive with just one track and one car. And do that. And the Colin and I have discussed it. It's just we have probably a pretty good, decent budget for sportsman racing, but nowhere near enough what we need for modifieds. You know what I mean? I went out like I my last motor dyno. I went to the gypsum shop, and the guy goes, "You should be racing modifieds." I said, "I'd love to. I really would. I'd love to race modifieds. Who doesn't want to race modifieds? You know what I mean?" The problem is that you're racing. As I'm walking out of their shop, they got their own shock dyno in house. They all 3 of their stackers, not Pat's, but obviously Larry, Billy, and one other one they had in there. 3 haulers in the garage. They have umpteen cars in there, motors lined up the yin yang. And here I am trying to buy a used motor from a engine shop for $10,000 to try to compete with these guys. Not to mention buying their used tires. You know what I mean? So for me, I want to do it. I really love the race modifieds. I just don't want to do it and look like a fool out there. I went to Fonda with my modified from Glenridge with the big block, and I was, in the back of the pack, had no power to even come close to run with those guys. So I want to do it, but I don't want to do it half-assed. You know what I mean? That's my biggest thing is if I can get a good ride or some good sponsorship money, somebody had a checkbook that was pretty deep, I would love to try it again. You know what I mean? But right now, I just don't have it's not efficient enough for us to do it.
That makes sense. That's tough for anybody to make that jump. It is obviously far more of a expense, as you mentioned, than per se. And yeah, you mentioned the gypsum shop. I've heard about the gypsum shop. When you walk in and out of there, that they're not lacking for anything in that in that shop.
We've all seen the photos of like
Yeah.
42 cars in the picture.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. Like I talked to the guy, he was a little upset about everything, but I'm like, whatever. So when he's like, you should race some modifieds, I'm looking around, I'm like, how do you expect? I could park my truck and trailer inside your stacker with my car in it and still not have half the stuff you guys have. Like I said, it's not all about what you have. It's about talent as well. But the money does not hurt. You know what I mean? And it does hurt when you don't have it, but it doesn't hurt to have it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of just one of those deals. Like, I'd love to do it, but like I said, I'm just kind of. I'm at a point where I'm having fun doing what I'm doing. There's enough sports and races out traveling around. We're having a good time. Like I said, I don't want to become dominant and everybody hate me, but I also don't want to go out and make myself like a fool and run around 14th, 15th either.
Well, that makes sense. One more question for you here, and then we'll let you go. Again, I told you about 15 minutes. I know I'm sure you got stuff to get ready for things to do.
When you're done, I got one.
Oh, you got okay. Almost got one too. You've won a lot of places, won a lot of things, a lot of championships, a lot of feature wins. You've won on the mile, all these places. What in your career is your favorite win, or your most memorable win?
Favorite win, honestly, I like to say my first Syracuse win, but I don't think it's really that. I think the Sportsman Syracuse one sticks out the most. You know what I mean? Coming from deep in the pack and then making a last lap pass on the outside at Syracuse, obviously that's something that I think a lot of people as well as myself will remember forever. You know what I mean? It's kind of you'll never forget something like that. So I'd have to say that's my most memorable win. I mean, there's a lot of them that stand out, but to be able to do that in a Sportsman, it just kind of obviously he's going to be with me forever, and it's just kind of one of those deals where I think it's going to be with a lot of people forever.
All right, now that we got the racing stuff out of the way, let's get to the real important stuff. When are we setting up a Polish Horseshoes tournament this winter?
When you come down this way, but I just want to make it clear that everybody knows that listening to the show that you and your camping partner there both lost playing against me. So if you guys practice for a little while, and then when you guys get good, give me a call.
Yeah. I hear you.
That's funny.
We only played one game. This is the only game I lost all day, too.
You stink. That's awesome. Well, hey, Rocky, like we like to do with everybody that comes on, we want to give you a chance to thank any sponsors, plug anyone you need to plug any websites or anything you got going out there. And again, we appreciate you coming on and taking the time out of your day to be here.
Thank you very much. No, we got our own Facebook page, Rocky the Flying School Racing. Obviously, you guys want to check us out. I try to update as much as possible. We're kind of behind. I did an update today. But, I got to think, obviously, this whole deal, the grit thing going on with the cancellation, Mr. Hartel is working with us, going to make us run early, let's get that quick out of the way. He's going to help us out run early next week at the grit race. So I'd like to thank him for that. And then all my sponsors, my car owner, West End, has just been huge. But obviously, most of the reason why we're here today doing what we're doing because, he's been backing most of the bills. So him, Wendy's, Dunham Spring Shop, RCT Roofing, JH Property Services, True Value, Gloversville, Johnstown, Gloversville, Napa. There's an endless count. I don't have a list in front of me here, but it's just a big group effort. My whole crew has been outstanding. We put endless hours in the shop, late nights, racing one night, then the next night. The wife, my dad, being able to enjoy what we're enjoying with him, knowing he's very sick. So it's just kind of huge, everybody, big group effort. They all chip in, and wasn't for your core, your support group, wouldn't be possible. So I'd like to thank them all and thank you guys for having us.
Oh, man.
Without his shadow, he's got nothing. His shadow, Joe.
What's that?
Your shadow, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe's the man. Obviously, he's not the best looking, the smartest one, but I tell you what, he's the most hardest working guy you'll ever meet, and he puts in 3 times the hours of anybody. Even me and him go there together, but I always give him a ride. But the problem is sometimes I leave him there and go do other things, and he stays there. Like he's there right now. So without Joe, it would be a lot less of an operation.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, thanks for coming on. We appreciate your time, and good luck here in I'll say 2 weeks now, not this weekend, the following weekend, and
right.
on your grit championship there and your chase for that. And have a good night. Thank you again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you, pal.
And so that was Rocky Warner, current Grit Series point leader. I don't know if he can be caught or not, but I'm not familiar with their point way they do their points. So
Yeah, and I'm not sure if those points reflect the 2 drops or not.
yeah, I don't know either. So I don't.
I know they drop like 2 finishes, right?
Yeah, it's something weird. Yeah, so you had to run 12 out of or something.
Maybe it's more than 2 finishes. I forget
don't
what it
know
is.
how many it is.
You
12
didn't
out
have
of
to
17.
run all the races.
Is it 12 out of 17 or
something like that?
Something like
you didn't
that.
Have,
Yeah.
I know you didn't have to run them all.
Yeah, I'm just not sure what it is.
Do you want me to get Ryan?
Yeah, go ahead. We're right on schedule here. So again, that was Rocky Warner. Pretty impressive season. A couple of championships at Glen Ridge, and of course, the track of champions, the Fonda Speedway. So big news coming out of Fonda too, Bombs. You see the Facebook page, all the fresh clay going
Fresh
down.
new clay.
That is nice to see.
Yep.
To see. It's nice to see someone caring about our old stomping grounds. You know, as everybody knows, that's where we came from. If that explains everything that everybody needs to know there.
Did I ever tell you the story about Rocky getting a profile in the newspaper?
Oh boy.
I guess we'll have to wait for that.
Well, we'll have to wait for that. So, as we've got someone that's become a regular here now.
I know, right?
I almost got to call him a regular here. Winner of this past weekend's World of Outlaw event down at the Port Royal Speedway is Ryan Smith. And Ryan, welcome back to the 31st lap. I feel like we just had you a couple weeks ago, and here you are again, and that's never a bad thing.
Yeah, glad to be on, man. I appreciate it. It's hard to believe, but we beat the Outlaws.
Has it sunk in yet, man? I mean, really, that's got to be just an amazing feeling, and something that, you got to pinch yourself every morning, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. I dreamed of just being able to race with these guys, not to beat them. It just makes that much better,
Well, talk a little bit about the race. I was fortunate. I've read all the stuff on the race, and it didn't come easy. It wasn't a front row victory by any stretch of the imagination. You raced Donnie Schatz, the best of the best, to get the victory. So take us through that race and take it through what it was like, the battle there with traffic, shots, and everything else that was going on.
Well, we started 4th there, like you said. We had to earn it, and my goal was to run top 5. I didn't think I had a shot to win. But, we go there to win, but didn't think you're racing as the best here. Donnie Schatz starting 3rd. This race is over. And I had to jump on him both times on the start, and knew we had a real good car. And just got rolling there, and the top was pretty far around already. And I knew it was only going to get further around, and I was good through the middle. And I started running them guys down like 10 laps in. I said, man, I could win this. And got the match in there, and I got him pretty quick. And then Lucas, I might have showed my hand a little early. I just split him, and he got me back. But then he took the line away from me. He took the bottom middle away from me, and made me work for it. But we were good enough to get a run on him off the top to the bottom and get by him. And then it was like, I'm figuring where's 5 to go at here. This race got to be over. And I'm looking I looked over at the scoreboard one time, and it showed lap 20, and the 15 was running 2nd. So I'm like, he's coming, and I just figured I got to stay on the bottom here, and making him go around me on the outside was better. And just never seen him. Held him off and brought her home for the posse. It's pretty cool.
How neat was that? I've heard some people talking about the after effects. It's got to be fun to win a race like that. You mentioned winning it for the posse, and I know the infield there gets a little ruckus, just like it does at Williams Grove in the stands. Whenever posse beats the Outlaws, they make sure the Outlaws know about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, it's the atmosphere in Victory Lane was pretty cool. It was all the people there. They were chanting posse, and that was my first time there. First of all, my second win ever in 410s, and to beat them guys at that level, it was really hard to take all that in at that time. I was trying to like, did this really happen? And, it's really cool to be at that level and beat Donnie Schatz,
Beating Donnie Schatz anywhere is a feat in itself. Considering how he's been here at the end of the season,
Jesus, this whole season.
20.
He's won almost 30 races.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
How much did winning New Egypt this summer help the confidence and give you that boost that you needed? To say that, hey, that we can win in these 410 ranks. You've been successful in everything else you've come up in and run, and it took you a little longer to get that first 410 win. But how much did that win factor into the win on Saturday night?
Well, I think we were about 2 months ago. We were just talking about that. Getting that first win and how much that really means to us, and that monkey, get that big monkey off our back. That just made us, more confident and able to attack these races a little harder. You can, instead of trying to get that first one, we can gamble a little bit here and really try and take it to the front. And we did that. We struggled a little bit mid-season. We actually made a chassis change here about a month ago. Went on the Triple X chassis, and it was probably the best thing we did all year. I mean, we run secondary at the Grove for their final show, and was going pretty good at rolling wheels with it, and got a flat tire with 5 laps to go or something like that. So, that played a factor in it. And just the confidence. Be behind the wheel of these cars, you got to be very confident and know your car's gonna turn down straight away, and it's gonna have some bite. So, just everything factors into it, and it's really cool to talk with you guys about this.
What prompted the change to Triple X chassis from what you were running? I know Jeremy Elliott wrote a story on it and talked a little bit about you in that, and mentioned kind of what Stevie Smith and Fred Raymer had been able to do. How much did that factor in, and what prompted the change?
Well, we were 6th, 7th, 8th place car, and just couldn't find the speed to get any better. So if you're getting beat by, Stevie's got him, Brent Marks has him, and even Brian Monteith on Triple X, if you can't beat them, you got to get what they got. So we decided, let's make a change and go for it. And glad we did, because it was it responded to changes. I mean, it's into the racetrack, and just the support we got from them guys, Triple X and Ponchos, and just really, it was a really good move, and I think we're going to stick with that next year.
What chassis did you have prior to the Triple X?
We were on GF1, and they were really good people. I just think maybe both my chassis GF1 wore out, and just put a new chassis under it made that much difference, or this car is a little bit better.
Well, I mean, everything in racing is cyclical. I mean, you look.
Yeah.
I know where we are, modified racing. Of course, 1 year Bicknells are the hot setup. Next year the TOs, and then the next year the Troyer. Yeah. And it kind of goes that way with sprint car racing. I mean, 1 year you see
racing, it goes
you see Maxim dominate, and then you see Triple X cars come around. So I mean, it's just part of the cycle. But at this point, it doesn't matter what it is. I think for you, I mean, you definitely have figured things out and got things going in the right direction. Now with the win, does that mean we're going to see you head down to Charlotte here next weekend?
Absolutely. I'm actually just pulling into the shop here now. We're going to get in here, mount a new body up, and we're going to change our paint scheme up a little bit for down there.
Nice.
Really?
The Fighting Angels Foundation are coming on board for Charlotte, and it's a pretty neat deal. There's foundations for the Angelman syndrome, and it's a genetic disorder you're born with. It's a slow growing deal. Intellectual growth is slow, and I just want to promote that. I think the racing community is the best way to promote that, and we're down with the Fighting Angels car, white and blue, change it up a little bit, and try and go down there and repeat.
A question coming in here in the chat room from someone. They see your sponsor, the Worco Group, on the side of the race car. They want to know, what do they do? What is the business there with the Worco Group?
Worco Group, they do anything from plumbing to HVAC to. You bring Worco Group in, it's a union deal. They come in, they do anything from putting a building up to wiring it to plumbing it to air conditioning, full 9 yards based out of Reading here.
Going forward here, heading into Charlotte now, you gotta just be hoping that the season doesn't come to an end. I mean, you gotta want to keep racing. I mean, you got Charlotte, and then you've got, of course, the race at Susquehanna, and then that's it for 410s here in the Northeast. You got to be just itching for next season already. I mean, I know you don't ever want to look ahead, but how excited are you for the future after the way this season wrapped up?
I am super excited. It's a shame. It's like I said, it's a shame November's here and it's over. We're just getting going. But I think you come to a point in your racing career where everything starts to click. You break out, so to speak. And I think this year, from like July on, that's the case for me. And like I said, I hate to see it end, but I think we're gonna gear up and try and do that humid deal down in Arizona, that winter heat.
Me too.
And there, go to Florida and race as much as we can.
Nice. So you are going to Arizona. Good deal.
Well, we're going to try. I can't guarantee it, but that's
Hey.
a long way. You know, it's a long ride, but we'd definitely like to do that.
Hey, I'll
Yeah,
meet
and the
you there. I'll
money's-
meet you there because I'm flying.
They're putting the money up for those shows.
Hey,
So.
what are they? 10 grand to win, 1,000
12
to
grand to
start?
win, aren't
12
they?
grand and
Oh, yeah,
1,000.
12 grand and 1,000 to start. That's really good money.
Yeah. You can't beat that. Can't beat that, and that
Yep.
should be a good deal. So,
And it's at a time where there's really nothing.
there's nothing else
on,
going
so-
on. Yeah, of course.
Right.
Another question coming in.
So you're looking forward to go beat on Donnie Shots again?
Question coming in here in the chat room. Someone asking, I'm pretty sure you guys are not in the normal location for a 410 sprint car team. What is your travel like each week to make it to Williams Grove and or Lincoln and Portland when you're racing there?
Well, it's more, I mean, the shop's only about an hour and 10 minutes from Williams Grove. But where I live, I'm an hour and 45 from the shop. So that's the toughest thing, is I'm always on the road back and forth and running parts around here and picking this up and spend time in the shop here to work on the car and then go back home and work the next day. It's just a lot of work, a lot of time on the road, and the race shop's in Reading. It's actually, we're 3 miles from Maple Grove is where we're at. So we're not too far from Williams Grove, but where I live in the Poconos, it's tough for me to run around all the time.
What are your plans for winter racing other than the sprint car? Am I gonna see you at the TQ shows and so on and so forth?
Yeah, we're trying to put a deal together to run TQ. Nothing set in stone yet, but I'll definitely be there either way. Not Chili Bowl, I don't believe I'm going to have anything lined up for that. But definitely going to try and line something up for Atlantic City.
Definitely. Got to run Atlantic City. That's fun.
Nothing for the Chili Bowl yet, huh? That's a bummer. I know you didn't make it out there last year either.
Yeah, I can't put anything together yet. So maybe this win will help draw up some attention. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're definitely getting attention.
Yeah.
I mean, how neat is that when you look at every racing paper and every racing website and every racing, anything related to racing, you go on the World of Outlaws website and you see your face on there as the most recent feature winner. That's got to be a pretty awesome feeling.
Yeah, and it's nice that there's a break since he won his race to the next one. So his face is there longer than most.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Usually the next night it changes again.
Believe, man. It really is.
Someone also asking in the chat room, Ricky Smith, that used to race at Orange County, any relation to you in the 555 car?
Yep, he's my uncle. My uncle Richie, and then my father's Randy,
Okay.
which he ran the 55.
Okay.
The triple nickel Richie Smith is your uncle?
He's my uncle.
I didn't know that.
Almost learned
I
something
remember
tonight.
when he raced. I never knew that.
Some people ask me why.
Of course you
I didn't
remember, because you were
modify
12 when Alan Johnson started winning that streak.
You're such an ass.
And I was an open wheel guy, I like to be, big horsepower, no weight kind of deal.
Yeah. No offense, me too.
Yeah.
Not that I don't love modifieds, but I agree with you on the open wheel on that
Speaking
one.
the right language for around here.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all
Just
open.
gotta take the crutch off,
Yeah.
though.
Oh, stop. Man, one more question coming in here before we let you go, Ryan. Again, we got the chat room running here, so people just asking questions, want to know a little bit about where he came from. And we know you used to run, slingshots and all that. You've had some success there. Is S&S Speedway, is that your family business and the family-owned operation, et cetera?
Yep, that's my mother and father. We own the S&S Speedways, and then we also promote Hamlin Speedway in Scranton,
Yep.
which is a small car track. But yeah, that's I'm there every day.
Do you race every day?
Not every day, but every other.
I'm jealous of you on that one. That would be fun.
So what you're saying is, if we ever get there, don't race against you.
Yeah, because we're not winning.
I have to keep you guys down there, like I said. And
I know when we had him on the last time, we talked about this.
Yeah, I know.
We
gotta
need to go down there and do a
We
show.
gotta go. That'd be fun.
I'm all for it.
It would
That'd be fun. We'll have to try to find a
we got
date
the
this
stuff.
winter.
This winter we should.
That would be a fun show.
We need to make that happen.
Yes. So, well, Ryan, before we let you go, as we always do, man, we want to give you an opportunity to thank your sponsors, thank any folks, send out the Twitter, the websites, the Facebook, whatever you got. Again, man, we just appreciate you coming on.
thanks, man. I appreciate it. I mean, I got to thank these guys, Rob Orco and my mom and dad and everybody that's involved. It's a team effort. It's not just one owner. I bring the motors to the table. Rob owns the cars, and it's a couple of little guys come together to form this team, and for us to do this and go beat Donnie Schatz and the Outlaws, it's just really cool. It's really cool to see little guy beat the big guy.
It's definitely awesome.
Absolutely.
Definitely awesome, man. Well, hey, again, we appreciate you being on the show here.
Yeah,
as always, and
man.
congratulations, man. It's an awesome deal. It's an awesome story, and we appreciate your time as always. And I look forward to seeing you next week in Charlotte.
Thanks, man. We'll see you guys down there.
Yep.
Okay, man. See
Have a
ya.
good night.
See you soon.
Yep. Bye.
We have to make that happen.
We got to do that. That does sound fun.
We talked about it the last time we had
I
him
know.
on. We need to make that happen.
That would be fun. That would definitely
I'm
be
all
fun.
for it.
I am too.
Hey,
Anytime.
all right. So
This winter would be that'd make a good live event.
Sure. We
that
do the whole
would
thing.
that would be a fun live event. You got that right.
It would be. We could get people to go that in the wintertime.
Yeah. Us.
We could probably bring the 5 people that are watching right now with us.
Yeah.
Like we could literally bring them. If we could all meet in one place, we could pile in my van.
Pile in a car.
Yeah. Yeah.
We could bring everyone who is watching right now could go.
We could take the ESS van.
There you go.
So,
John,
Who's driving,
why,
though?
Why have you not
What?
complimented me?
What?
you got a
My
haircut?
van is still sticker free.
You're right. It is. It is.
And
Thank you for doing
you
that.
have gotten.
Or should I say, thank you for not doing
Is
that?
that the car you remember, John?
I don't remember that particular car, but I remember him racing. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And,
I mean, he raced right into the
cool for
90s.
the love from the chat room there.
He raced right into the 90s. He did.
Is that Middletown he's racing at? That's got to be Middletown. That's
Let's
the
see
same.
that again.
That's
Is
Middletown.
that the
same
driving in the background?
Yeah, same fence that's been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's the same.
Yeah, it hasn't changed.
Those same weeds in the background.
Don't rip on Middletown. That was my home.
Only-
I love
Only place I've ever seen
Middletown.
with Rubik's Cubes freaking parking lot lights.
You know what those are from?
Yeah, from the World's Fair.
So
in
that's
1962.
Well, quit ripping on them. Hey, you know that
Jesus.
guy that was the cop guy that shot the cops in PA? They got him.
Yes.
It's breaking news everywhere right now. So we'll mention that. Good to see. Hopefully justice is served for that fellow. Or it might happen there. But, so what do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about rolling wheels? You want to talk about Eastern States? Where are we going to go?
Eastern States.
Well, I'll tell you what I don't
let's-
want to talk about.
Eastern States? Well, here we go. Eastern States. I was gonna write something up, but I figured it's more fun to talk about it. So I guess we'll do my good and my bad from Eastern States. My good.
Well, that's good. Should be a short list.
Oh, shut up. Quit being an ass. I got to pick on Eastern States. I love Eastern States. It's still my
Yeah.
favorite modified race of the year. You can hate it. I don't care. Oh, here we go. You weren't doing that on Saturday night, were you?
No,
No, you weren't.
I should have. Though.
Me too. But, so the good. Eastern States. The weather for 3 days. Beautiful weather this year, I thought. Thursday night, I wasn't there, so I didn't have to worry about the Friday, the mud sucked, but
Oh.
temperature-wise, weather-wise, I mean, it was a beautiful 3 day of racing. Awesome. Secondly, I will say that the Big Block race was fun to watch. There was some passing up front. You had Gary Edwards, Jerry Higbee racing for the lead at one point. Brett Hearn is just Brett Hearn at Middletown. I mean, I think he had a blindfold on and still got him. I mean, he passed Shepard on the outside on a restart, which nobody did all day anywhere else. So impressive. I thought the track held up pretty good. It did not eat tires like it has in the past. So other than I thought the race was good. We're gonna, and again, the usual breakfast sandwiches on Saturday night were spectacular. I gotta tell you, bacon, egg, and cheese, man, on a roll. Nothing better. And the steak sandwich and the food, awesome. The event as a whole, still love it. Still my favorite modified event. Obviously, if we're talking negatives, the first thing that comes to my mind is caution laps. We've got to figure out a way to get that race so the cautions are not so significant, because I mean, you end up running close to 80 to 90 caution laps, and it's a 200-lap race, not a 120-lap race. So I know you agree with me on that one. Other thing, I mean, mine, some procedural things. I don't know what the pit stop rule was because I couldn't explain it to you if I tried. Now, you were on pit road, so you know what it was, but I think it was you had to pit once if you wanted fuel, you had to pit again if you wanted a tire.
It was extremely confusing.
Okay, because I didn't
I
understand
can explain it to you, but it was extremely
Okay,
confusing.
if you can explain it to me, I need that because I didn't understand it as it was going.
Okay.
So I got lost in the shuffle as to why some guys were coming down in, some guys weren't pitting, some guys, like if you had to pit twice or this or that. And I'm not a fan. I will say this first off. I'm not a fan of anybody saying you have to pit after X lap or that. I don't believe in that. Just let them race and let them pit whenever they want.
Well, the whole reasoning behind it is to try to keep the congestion.
Right, I understand why they're doing it.
So not everybody pits at the same time.
I understand that. I get that.
The problem is, I think most of them still do anyway.
Right,
but
still.
The first 60 laps, you could pit whenever you wanted and do anything to your car. You know, you could change tires, take fuel, whatever, but it didn't count as your mandatory pit stop. After lap 60, the first caution, and only the first caution, not the second, not the third after lap 60. The first caution after lap 60, that was when, if you decided to make that, because after lap 60 is when you had to do your mandatory pit stop.
Right.
Okay. Right. So if you chose to do it on the first caution after lap 60, if that was the one you were going to pit under, you could only do one service or the other under the first stop.
Right.
So if you decided, let's say you decided to take fuel, you couldn't take tires. Or if you decided to take tires, you couldn't take fuel.
Right.
So you had to come in under that same caution to finish your service a second time. So you had to stop essentially twice. That's what counted as your mandatory pit stop.
Okay.
Not just once. If you stopped under the first yellow after lap 60, you had to stop twice. If you stayed on the racetrack and didn't stop at all under that yellow, and you waited till the next yellow after lap 60,
that would have been okay.
then you could do one stop, and that counted as your mandatory stop.
So Hearn came down pit road twice.
The first caution.
So
after
Hearn
lap
technically
60.
had to pit twice.
Yeah, everybody that decided to pit that caution had to pit twice.
All right,
to make their mandatory stop. If you didn't stop twice, it wasn't counted as a mandatory stop.
All right.
Which meant you had to stop again.
Right.
Later.
Okay. All right. That was my confusion.
Yeah.
And my thing is, I get the safety factor of it, but I hate mandatory pit stop rules. Like, you got to pit after X lap. We've seen it at Syracuse. Just let them pit whenever they want. Let it just go. And then, again, run the last 75, the last 25 are green, and I get the reasoning why they added the other rule. Like, I'm very anti-procedural rules. Like, I don't like it in NASCAR. I don't like it in anything. And I get why they added the rule where if you bring out an intentional yellow after lap 175, you lose a lap. So if you get a flat tire and you stay on the track and bring out a caution, you lose a lap. Yep. That's just how it goes. And I get why they do that, but I'm not a fan of that either. I just let things play out. If a guy wants to pit on lap 40 and try to go 160 laps on a tank again, let him do it.
Right.
Let him go. But, I mean, I think there needs to be some limit, though, as to how many caution laps we count. Because we've seen it the last couple years now. Guys will stop for anything in those first 175 laps, and they bring out intentional yellows the whole race. And then every time when pit road opens, it's at least 4 to 5 laps because you got to get everybody back in
time to make their stops, especially the first yellow after lap 60, because they got to. They got to pit twice for those guys that pit. They got to do it twice.
Right.
So you got to give them time to do it.
Right, and I am not a fan of that.
Yep.
And then you have in instances where
remember at Syracuse we were there one year and there was a caution, like they were averaging for one stretch there was a caution every 9 laps.
Yeah, I mean it's just and
that was rough.
And they've done the thing at Syracuse where you have to pit after lap 125 or what.
Right.
We don't need any more gimmicks in racing. I understand why we're doing it. Again, I'm not bashing why the rules are in place. I'm just saying I don't like the rules. Just let them race it out.
Unfortunately, that's the downside when you have races where there are pit stops.
Well, you have pit stops for people that don't know what they're doing. And ultimately, pit road is nuts.
It is a dangerous place.
But I think if you,
I'll tell you that it was my first time of ever
working
on a pit road. And it was a little unnerving.
Yeah, I mean, they're whizzing by you.
That first caution, when they were eligible to make their mandatory pit stop after lap 60, they all come flying down pit road. Like I'm standing in the middle of pit road against the Jersey barrier that separates the pit road in the front
from the racetrack.
Yeah. I'm backed up against the Jersey barrier, and they're coming right at me down pit road. And the first couple cars kick up all this dust. Now I can't see the rest of the cars, and I know they can't see me, and I'm like, holy Jesus. I'm like, if one comes this way, I'm jumping over the barrier because I got nowhere to go. Luckily, obviously nobody really got that close to me, but they're literally within a few feet.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And they fly down.
I did not envy
some of them fly down pit road.
I did not envy you doing that.
As they're flying down pit road, I'm looking the other way because I don't know if I'm going to get a rock spun up into my face or something. It was unnerving.
I wish we had a way to regulate in modifieds. I know it's probably impossible to do, but to regulate pit road speed. Like I don't know.
Well, they had a pit road speed because they do it. You know,
the push truck,
the pace truck at
but
the
the
beginning of the
problem
race,
is
they take
once-
everybody down pit road
Right,
at
but once the pace
30 to
truck's
35
gone-
miles an hour, but there's no way to judge it.
No.
And there were guys going
Way faster than 35 miles
Trust
an
me,
hour.
they went.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
listen
know.
by me, I know.
There was a situation. Rick Lawback got pinned
Yes.
for.
Yeah,
It's Super Dirt Week.
that's a.
I know. We're talking about that's not the
But
same
it's-
race.
but the problem
still,
is
there was
no-
attempts.
See,
but
at Super Dirt Week, they get the state police come in with their
radar
gun.
crap.
So they have the sign right at the end of pit road
What-
that tells you.
I
What
wish
your
they
speed
would
is.
do-
I don't think they had that at.
They did not have it in Orange County. No, but why can't we do like 4 of those on pit road, and say But the problem is picking out which car is it that goes by.
Well, even if you have the sign there,
Nobody's listening.
who the hell's looking at that? With all that's going on, these guys are watching for cars pulling out in front of them.
I know, you're
guys running around the race cars, officials standing on it. You can't be looking for a speed sign.
You're right. You're true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
especially as dusty as it was.
I mean, I think
Because if you were behind a car, you couldn't see that guy.
I get why they start so many cars because it's a big race, but I think that race could do with a 40 or a 36 car field.
Yeah,
because you think about
I
it,
think that's part of your caution problem.
you
Is
take
all the cars on a racetrack.
Yeah, and if you take 8 cars out of that race, just 8.
Yeah,
you add that.
yeah, that's
8
36
spots.
cars because there's 40. Well, they started 45 actually.
Right. So if you take 8 cars out and
Yeah.
you make those pit road that much longer,
Yeah.
I think that decreases the congestion
No question.
and makes it a bit safer too.
And I get why they let so many cars start.
I
'cause
understand
there's
that,
a lot
too.
of guys there, and I get it. But this again, they start 44, 45 every year at Fulton for their 200.
right.
But that place,
You're not doing pit stops.
typically, there's no pit stops. But typically, as far as the race goes, the place is so wide, it's so racy. There's room everywhere, even though it sounds like a lot of cars, and there are a lot of cars.
Right.
There's still room where
But they
nobody's
had-
being held up there.
But they had the same issue this year with theirs.
This year was
Cautions.
an unusual 200 at Fulton where there
'Cause
was a
there's
lot of yellows.
cautions. Yep.
But historically, that race doesn't go that way. Unfortunately, with Eastern States, historically, this race does go that way.
The last
There's
few
a
years,
lot of. There's so many cars out there. There's nowhere. They get behind. The leaders catch the back markers. It's hard to pass there, and there's just nowhere to go. And if you're getting threatened to be put down a lap, you get into the guy in front of you because you're running out of patience because the leader's behind you, and it just
Right.
causes so much havoc.
I'll tell you this: the guy to watch that did not want to go a lap down was Danny Johnson.
Well, yeah.
He ran
That's-
the balls off that car to stay on the lead. I mean, that's the only way to say it. He did not. You could tell he knew that
What
Gary Edwards.
happened to him in turn 2? I know he got a wreck, but what happened?
He got a right rear flat and a spun.
Okay.
He was running in the top 5, but that's always the case. I mean,
And that was late in the race, too.
Yep. But again, then he doesn't get docked because he spun.
But he never come back out, though. He didn't finish.
Well, at that point, if you're not in the series points, because he's not, because he didn't have a home track.
He didn't finish
And
the race. He didn't
at this
come back
point,
out.
from 10th or 14th on back pays.
Yeah, and he's right. He's not
we
in the point.
no
deal, so-
offense, it is what it is. No, Zupi's griping because he's a scorer, and he goes, "You can't lose a lap under yellow on the track or in the pits." Is crap. Well, I don't think so because I think it's a safety thing. Middletown, you can lose.
Well, it's
a lap.
also courteous to the drivers. If they do get a flat tire, you're not going to lose laps, so you don't have to kill
Right.
somebody to get into pits in a hurry and change it and get out of the pits in a hurry without losing lap. You don't have to worry about that.
Well, the thing is
because either way, you're going to the tail. So just take your time, change the
Right.
tire because they're giving you the time to
Right.
change it.
I
I
don't like the
I kinda like
intentional-
that.
I'm not a fan of the intentional yellows.
Yes, that I don't like. But if something happens and you have to go into pits to make some sort of repair,
And let's be
You're not
honest,
gonna get penalized for that.
most tracks are not set up for guys to get in and out of the
Yes,
pits quickly.
exactly.
Like if you're at 5 Mile Point and you get a right rear flat, there's no possible way you're going in and back
and,
out
and that's
without
our
losing a lap.
That's our rule on all the series races. All the Super Series races are like that. If you have a problem, you bring out the yellow. You got to go to the pits. Let's just say it's a flat tire.
right.
We give you time to go change it because let's think about it. Majority of these races are held at tracks where the pits aren't even in the infield.
Right. So
You got to
can't-
go to God knows where to your
Right.
hauler to go, or a hot pit somewhere to go change the tire and get back. And if you're on a little quarter mile, if it's a little bull ring like a Brockville or a Cornwall,
You're not getting back out. There's no
you're
way.
going to lose 2 or 3 laps.
Right.
So I think it's a courteous thing to give your drivers the time to go change it and not be able
Right now,
to lose a lap.
Right, Zupi's argument is, well, it causes intentional yells. My argument is, if the guy gets a flat tire or something, he's going to stop anyways.
Yeah,
The yell's going to come out no matter what because they're still going to try,
absolutely.
regardless of whether they lose a lap or not. You know that, and
Exactly.
I know that. I mean, even
especially if they're in a point deal, they're not going to just pull in under green.
It's not going to happen. They're going to bring out.
If I'm the point leader, I'm not pulling in under green with a flat tire.
They're going to bring in a caution. This is bottom line. They're going to bring out a caution.
Yep.
So I don't think that's going to. It might cut down on a couple cautions where the guy rolls to a stop or whatever.
Yep.
You know, you've seen those, but I don't think at the end of the day it's going to cut a significant amount. And I think the safety factor, of the fact that like if you're at a Utica or a 5 mile or an Accord, where the pits are tight, you're congested, you're driving in various directions. And
Utica Rome's a great example because you got 2 separate pit areas.
Right.
One's off to the right and one's off 3 and 4.
So you
on the left.
Yeah, 1 and 2.
Or 1 and 2. Where you go off, where you bear off to the left.
Right. So it makes it.
There's 2 separate areas.
Right. It's difficult. It is difficult.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that was my good and bad from Eastern States. I mean, again, the caution thing is probably my biggest gripe, and that was the same thing with the small block race on Saturday.
That was even worse.
I hate. It's a 100-lap race. Let's just make it 75 and not count cautions. I'd rather see him race it out.
Well, the way the cautions are, though, you need it to go back to 150 again.
Yeah, I know.
Because then you get more green flag out of it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Just go 75.
Not much more, but
just go 75 laps, green flags.
Yeah, all green flag.
All green flag laps. Yeah. That's it. Cautions don't count.
Yeah.
Because then, it'd be
guaranteed
fine.
75 green flag laps.
Right, and that's
even
what I want
to see. One or two at a time.
I still would rather see 75 green flag laps than a 100-lap race with 50 caution laps.
Yeah, and I agree with that, but the downside
is... As a fan, it's frustrating.
The downside is, as well as I do, if they did all green flag laps, let's just say they did what you just proposed. Mm-hmm. It's all every green flag session is going to be 1 or 2 laps at a time, and there's going to be another yellow. That's the downside. You never get a chunk of racing.
Well, you get
a minute.
You get some, though, but a predominant...
You do. I mean, literally, it's like 1 minute and the yellow's back out.
The predominant thing in the beginning of that racetrack, is there's caution. There's always cautions a lot at the beginning of the race because there's always so many cars out there. Even with the 358 race, they put a lot of cars out there. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it was, 36, whatever it was. It's just too many cars.
Yeah, the 358 race didn't have as many. I think it was 36.
It was a little slight. But you're putting so many cars out there, and everybody gets jammed up, and this and that. There's always going to be yellows at the beginning of that race. So I think it was lap 2 we were under yellow.
Yeah.
And then you're starting it. It's like, this sucks. Yeah. I don't. As a fan, I don't pay to get in.
Nobody wants to sit there and watch.
But it's not fair to all the people that pay to get in.
No,
to watch a 100-lap race, right? To watch a 100-lap race and only get to see 50.
Yep.
It's just not fair.
It's not fair to the racers that they don't get to race the guys in front of them to go advance their positions. They advance their positions because the guy fell out.
Right.
Not because he passed them.
Right. And then even Sunday, the same thing. They got to find a way to limit how many caution laps you count each session. Make it 2 laps or something. Because, there was one point where a car got wrecked, and the safety crew, it took them time to get it hooked up and everything. And then you're 11 laps under yellow.
Harpel with the RLC deal, kind of like what he does. If any yellow exceeds more than 5 laps under caution when they're counting laps, they stop counting laps.
But even that's excessive.
I'm not saying it's the exact correct
we're
rule,
running pit stops.
But it's something to that effect is a good idea because then you stop counting.
Well, I'd rather just see. All right, we run 2 laps under caution.
Yeah,
then we go back.
Make it 3 laps. They give you your 2 or 3 laps to be able to do your pit stops or whatever.
Right.
So make it 3 laps, and then anything after that, we stop counting.
Yeah, because it's just too many.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, we're running quick fills and we're running all this so we can run a long distance race. So if a guy's got to pit a second time and get fuel, that's their problem.
Because the other issue is it's not always when we're blaming everything on the racetrack or the drivers and the way everything's going with the race. Let's face it, another issue that I saw at Orange County this past weekend was the safety crew was very slow.
They were
very, very slow getting to various scenes of accidents or a car that just stopped, needed a push. It was a couple laps before the car had a push truck behind it to push it.
Right, I agree. Yeah.
So, all these things add up to more and more time spent going under
it was
close.
I think we counted over 80, somewhere between 80 and 90 caution laps, depending on how you count.
Which was less than the last 3 years, but still it's excessive.
Too many.
Yes.
It's too many.
Yeah, you're laughing, I know. The last 3 years, more than half the race has been run under yellow.
I know, we've
talked
Hearns, about that.
It is crazy.
And then you look at the right you retired on Hearns' car, and he didn't change it, and he still had tread. He could have won another 50 laps.
Yeah. So, that's... The sad part was it was an improvement this time, but it still isn't where it needs to be.
It's still too many.
Yeah.
It's just they got to find a way to fix that.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately will always be my gripe. Like I love Eastern State. It is my favorite race, my favorite modified race of the year. But it's just too many caution laps. I want to see the race.
Yes.
Because what happens when they get racing at Middletown, if the more laps on the green you have, the wider that rubber lane gets, and the better the racing gets.
Yep.
By having all these constant cautions, it just makes everybody fight for the bottom.
Yeah.
It just perpetuates that
bottom groove.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
just
nobody
ruins
ever
it.
gets their tires heated up.
No,
or
and it just
you never have a chance to do any of that.
Yeah, I mean, there was passing. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Jimmy Phelps went in, changed 2 tires late, came up from 16th, got up to 5th. You know, and there was some good stuff. But you still want to see that tire strategy a part of the race because that's always been a part of that race. You know, like last year, I thought it was
me of one of the
exciting.
things that Tim Fuller said one time. He goes, basically, you know, on a restart, you can look like a hero on the outside for a couple, 2-3 laps, but then if you don't get to the
But this
bottom,
year-
you're
Yeah, if
going
you don't
backwards.
get right. Yeah,
Yeah,
if you don't
exactly.
get down
Yeah.
in there on the bottom quickly, you're in trouble.
All right, so we good on Eastern States? You had enough Eastern States talk?
Yes.
Okay,
Bases covered.
Move on over to the...
Now, what do you want to talk about? Rolling wheels?
Oh, we got to. This has been a hot topic this week.
I was
there
reading
is-
a
I don't know
little
how
bit.
much we're going to be able to add to what people don't already know anyway.
Well, hey, we can put our 2 cents. I mean, I put my 2
Honestly.
cents. I put my 2
Ladies
cents
and gentlemen,
into
John Balmas, ever the outcast.
it. No, I
I don't have anything to add.
I mean, okay, so you read their Facebook page, and they
I did.
discuss.
I skimmed
I've
through the
read through
comments
almost
and
everything
stuff.
on there, and their first show is Memorial Day weekend. They're doing a tournament format, and
Well, that's the only show they've told us about.
Right.
I wouldn't say it's their first show. It's the only show that they've told us about.
I'm going to say, well,
we're still waiting for a schedule.
let me ask you: did they run the last show at Rolling Wheels when the Outlaws were there? Or?
I thought they were.
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh,
I
that's
know
what
they
I thought
said
I
they
said.
did, but
That's
I
what
thought they were
it said
passing
on
out
their
I'm
schedules.
pretty sure Hockman was running that show.
Yeah, that's what I
so-
thought too.
But anyway,
I just don't like, you're in this business for a reason. Most of us are. I mean, I get you're in it to make money, and there are people that will not know everything there is to know. But my question is, they're talking about various things, and they're running again. How are you going to run a 3-day show on Memorial Day weekend?
4 days.
Whatever it's going to be. How are you going to run a 4-day show on Memorial Day weekend against all the local tracks that are running? People can say, well, Utica doesn't have tradition, but it doesn't. But still, guys will go to Utica on that Sunday. It's always been a traditional ESS show, or it's been. I mean, I obviously have a lot of dogs or a lot of horses in the race, whatever you want to call it, whatever analogy you want to use here. But being the Utica Rome and ESS announcer, but I still don't see how coming in and doing your first big show, if that's what it's going to be, running 4 nights or 3 nights against all established local tracks that run weekly shows. I mean, where are you going to get the fans from, and where are you going to get the cars from? Because we've already established guys won't leave Malta to run 30 miles away at Glen Ridge for an extra couple
But
$100
doesn't
bucks.
mean they won't leave somewhere else.
Yeah, but I just don't
Malta
think.
isn't the only track running.
But I
outside
still
of-
don't think you're going to get cars.
Again, and I know I said this to you on the way up here. We talked about it a little bit. I really don't have a whole lot to add, or I've kind of avoided forming an opinion yet, only because I'm still waiting for them to make more announcements. All they've told us is the Memorial Day weekend deal. They keep telling us on the Facebook page that there's a schedule is soon to be released. I thought it was going to come out later this week, but I haven't seen anything yet. So whenever they release it, they'll release more information as far as their staff.
What's soon to be released mean?
Their
racing
plan.
anyway, though?
What is their future plans? What is their whole thought process of how they're doing this? What their formats are? With this whole tournament thing they're saying they're going to use. When I have more information in front of me, then I'll try to form an opinion. Right now, I don't have enough to go on. I'm just kind of trying to give them the benefit of the doubt to tell me more, give me more information first. So,
Just what I've read, I just don't see how it works.
and as far as the
a lot of
tradition
money.
thing, I know a lot of people are
Yeah.
bringing up the whole tradition. Oh, they're crying about running on. What's to stop any racetrack from racing on Memorial Day?
But my
weekend?
question is,
As far as Memorial Day weekend, and I know you'll probably argue with me with this because you do work at the racetrack at Utica Rome. The last few years, Utica Rome has their Memorial Day weekend deal going on. But you know what? That's not really their tradition either. They just kind of got left with it because other people stopped using it. If you want to go back to history and tradition, Wheatsport always had a race on Memorial Day weekend.
Right, but I'm saying-
you guys ended up doing it because everybody else stopped.
right? So why? But my question is why?
How'd that interview go over there, John?
What?
Did you have your interview yet to work the pit gate rolling with?
No, I don't even know these people.
But my question is, but why? Okay, I've heard the argument too that Rolling Wheels was a weekly track back in 1967, so we had the tradition first. You haven't run a weekly show at Rolling Wheels in 30 years.
Many years.
So no,
Since
you
the 70s or whatever.
Right, so
Alan
now-
Johnson started this streak.
right. But so now we're gonna start. We're gonna take this weekend, and you're gonna run against. Okay, let's just talk Central New York. All right, you're gonna run against Brewerton on Friday night, Fulton, Canandaigua on Saturday night, Utica Rome on Sunday, and okay, you're expecting to draw.
But again, you're assuming they're running against these people because they haven't.
How can they not?
But here's the thing: they keep telling us. If you read their comments on the Facebook page, when people say, "How are you going to run against other tracks?" they keep saying, "Slow down. Let us break out the schedule." And you'll understand it then.
Hey.
You'll see that we're not running against
You know
them.
what, if you
Because
got-
maybe they're running during the day. I don't know what their plans
you're
are. That's
still-
why I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt.
I'm not doing
Release a schedule first.
Not gonna do it.
Because you
I
might
don't-
find out that maybe they aren't conflicting.
There's no possible way not to conflict.
Now, obviously, there's travel there in between.
There's no way not
you
to
run,
conflict.
If you run a day show, it gives
could
them
run.
time to get to the night, but you got to give them ample time, depending on how
so you
far
got to start
they're
at 10 in the
coming from.
morning, and then
I'm just saying.
mean,
I'm trying to give them the benefit of the
I
doubt
don't-
before I jump down.
you
anybody's
know
throat.
what, John?
I tried that
I've
one
said
time and
it-
I got beat up a lot.
You know what? I've said it from the beginning, and I'll say it again. And maybe I'm just being a homer. I don't know, but if it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
I totally agree, and I said that the first time we went.
Yeah,
through this in the
exactly.
spring. But this time it's actually sold, so that's why I'm giving. The
Run
first
down
time
that
I-
list.
The
Run
first
down that
time I
list
was
again that you were
all-
talking about that they were drawing against, Mike. You're looking at.
He's running
which
all your
tracks.
weekly tracks.
But I want him to do the list one more time.
Well,
I want to hear the list.
well,
that
you know what?
Mike picked out.
This is just Central.
I'm
New York.
not I'm not coming down on you. I
Okay,
just want you to
all
do
right,
the
let's-
list again
all
because
right,
I
let's
think I
talk.
missed something.
All right, so Brewerton Friday night. That's just one. I mean, if we want to get crazy,
Yeah, if we're
Brewerton.
just talking about Central New York.
Right, that's Central New York. Fulton, Canandaigua.
Yeah.
You can. I guess you could count Thunder Mountain if you want, because that's still an
Uh-huh.
hour from Central New York.
Yeah.
All right, then
Less
Sunday,
than.
of course, Utica Rome. Monday would be Utica Rome, and I don't know anyone else that runs on Mondays. But that's just that. Now, if you factor in,
And we don't
let's
have the
factor
lead
in
sport scheduled, right?
right, and let's
No,
factor
they're
in.
Gonna have. They're gonna have. What did Shannon tell us at Super Dirt Week? How many races next year? She told us how many races, and I can't remember. 8 to 10, I think it was.
But it's not a crazy full schedule. But
no,
there's
they're not going to run weekly.
So in theory, with everything that Mike mentioned, regardless of when they're putting their shows on, we're not talking just Memorial Day. We're talking whenever they put their shows on. You're already automatically fighting against the car population that's already spread out over 6-8 tracks.
If this has the potential,
You know?
I mean, I understand that the drivers deserve to be paid, and I have nothing wrong with that. But if this deal goes through, it has the potential to blow everything else up in racing. I mean, because if you look, and let's just talk 360 traveling sprint car organizations. You have the Patriots, you have ESS. They both have relatively solid counts, whatever. ESS averages 20 to 30 every race. The Patriots are, around 20, 24. Somewhere in that. I'm not taking anything away from them, but that's on average what you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
So now,
Those are
both of
numbers.
those traveling series have 3 race weekends those weekends.
Mhm.
ESS goes to Albany, Fonda, Utica.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots go out in Western New York, and they have their 3-day deal.
Right.
All right, so now we're going to throw a race in Central New York that's going to pay $13,000. What's that going to do to those sanctioning bodies now that have traditional weekends that run shows that they're 2,000 to win shows? What's that going to do? That's not. I understand. Again, it's great for the money, but what's it do to the traveling organizations that have established where they've been?
Well, the problem is that it gives the drivers they have to make a choice.
Right.
Do
Are you gonna run?
do I run for the championship or do I go race for this one race?
Right, but it's not one day though. It's now we're talking a whole weekend.
What's the
of
difference
multiple
between what-
qualifying?
But again, we don't know what's running what days either.
No, that's fine. But still, it's still
They
no
say
matter
this-
what.
they're saying
How's
it's a
this any
4-day
different?
weekend.
And I'm not coming down on Brett, but how's this any different than the Short Track Super Nationals program?
This is different because the Short Track Super Nationals is Saturday night of Dirt Week. It's not taking away from anything at the mile. I said this to John on the way here. If Brett was running Sunday afternoon against the mile head-to-head, I would have an issue with that because that is a traditional race. That's a race at Syracuse. That's been the date for 43 years.
All right.
Okay. And somebody
Dutch
runs.
Hogue weekend versus Eastern States.
I still think you don't run on weekends that are traditional. I don't think you
Yeah.
run against Eastern States 200. That's been 53 years.
And again, we debated this on the way
Yeah.
up here, and I said to him, "Well, people have done it though.
I know, I get
Yeah,
it.
I don't-
but I don't agree with
Other
I don't
it.
see
tracks have run against Eastern States
It's
weekend
one
over
thing-
the years many times.
We don't know what the conversation.
what's running when.
Yeah, the conversation.
Right.
It could be a Thursday night for all we know. We don't know that.
All we know is that they told us it's a 4-day weekend.
It's
and
no,
Memorial Day
they gave
weekend.
you the dates, May 21st to the 24th.
That's 4 days.
That's the dates.
21, 22, 23, 24.
Yes.
That's
so that
4
would
day
be,
weekend. That's all we know. We don't know. You don't know what's running, what days.
That's
And
Thursday,
just
Friday,
assuming-
Saturday, Sunday.
You're just assuming modifieds and sprint cars are running all 4 days. You don't know that.
but even if
that
you
they
run
are.
them, you're still conflicting with someone.
Well, you're going to have to.
You
if
have
you're going to have a
to.
racetrack, you're going to conflict with somebody unless you run
but
every
again,
Monday.
You gotta. You can't.
You run Monday nights. It's the only way you won't conflict. You know.
But again, I'm just saying. Okay,
Observation Memorial Day. You're still gonna conflict with somebody.
what does this do?
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But here's my thing. What does this do to the weekly track? This destroys the weekly track concept.
Well, we're
I'm not saying
we're
that
thinking that we don't know yet. It's not happened. Until it happens and we see the
And in
result,
terms
we
of
don't
that
know.
whole, in terms of that whole, what does this do to the sanctioning bodies? It might not do anything.
Maybe
because
it makes everybody else step up their game.
it might not affect the sanctioning bodies
How
at all
can-
because you don't know.
What's that old adage? Competition isn't always a bad thing.
I'm not.
You got to try.
I have no problem with competition.
I mean, those guys have to
What
try
I have
something because they're coming out. They're coming out of the blocks new and fresh, and they have to do something to get attention.
Yeah.
They have to do something in
There's
order to
always
get
somebody
people
comes
that
out
want to
and
go.
tries to do something really, really big too.
You have to
stir the pot. And
And you know what? It might not be the
It might-
traveling organizations that have this blow up in their face. It
And
might
it-
be it might be the track itself.
it might fail majorly.
That's what I mean.
But it might be a huge home run. You don't know.
You get 50,
if you can afford to do it, why the hell not?
But I'm not buying it. I just think it. I mean, after all I've heard about what they've done in the past and all I know,
Oh, well, that's the big problem.
I
They
just
have no
don't-
credibility.
zero
I'm
credibility.
telling you right now, if Brett Deo does this exact same thing, everybody takes it seriously.
right? This right now,
And nobody's bashing
Nobody
because
questions
because
it.
he has all
right,
the
I'm
credibility.
not. Again, more power to them if they can pull it off. But on paper, when you've already proven to me that you can't follow through,
Yeah, I know.
and that we know what happened last year with the dirt car deal.
Yeah.
I mean that's been well discussed
This last spring.
last spring, right? Exactly. Okay, we know.
You're
we
not
know
talking
you
about
have
the
a-
schedule
People keep
cards.
forgetting it's
Yeah.
still this year.
Yeah, right. But when
the
you have
schedule cards at the dirt.
Yeah.
right when you prove to be
March.
full of crap, and you're passing out schedule cards, look at my nice new shirts.
Yep.
Okay, and yet what happens? You can't get the deal done. You magically can't sign the papers. Now all of a sudden the money all appears, and you find it, and now you're telling me that you have all these entries coming in and all this already. Where's the entry form? Where's that? Where is it? We're just all signing
Tickets
up
go on sale November 10th. By the way.
we're all signing up on PM on Facebook. Give me a break.
Yeah, that
That's
kind of
such
stuff.
a load
you
of
can't,
crap.
And I tell you what, in my travels on both sides of this equation, with sprint cars, with modifieds, with late models down south, you can expect a 30% drop off of every verbal commitment you have. There are people that are willing to pay the entry money just to mess with you, and those cars aren't going to show up, and they know that they're going
We
to.
had it at Utica for the Cold Cup. We had 2 or 3 cars pre-enter,
Yeah.
pay $100 and not show up.
There was 2 or 3 guys listed on the short track nationals, which of course just happened this past weekend.
Knoxville's the same way.
The 4-day event
Yep.
out in Little Rock, Arkansas, which Jason Barney was out there. But you looked at the pre-entry list, and there were 2 or 3 guys that were on the pre-entry list. So obviously they paid to enter the race that never came out and turned a lap any one of the 4 days.
Right.
I mean, if you sent your entry in 3 months ago, things change. Maybe you destroyed a car. Maybe you hurt an engine.
Right,
Who knows
right.
why you couldn't make it? You know.
I mean, listen, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I just...
Are you?
But for me, again, here's my ultimate thing, though.
Well, the problem is because there's
I've-
no credibility. And
I've
what
been
happened
around
the last
racing long
time with
enough.
them,
I've been around the
there's
sport
so
long
many
enough.
skeptics. I'm trying to I'm only giving them the benefit of the doubt this time.
Yeah,
because
but
the place really is sold.
This is
The
one of the
last
first
time-
times I've seen John go out of his way to really advocate
The
for
last
the fact
time-
that he isn't making a snap decision.
Yeah, the last time I jumped right down their throat immediately because the place wasn't sold. This time it really is. So I
Which
got
is
to give
fair.
them the benefit of the doubt to tell me what their plan is. Once I find out what the plan is, then I'll form an opinion.
Okay, my question is, we know everything that happened the first time.
Yeah, and it wasn't
Okay.
good.
Well, so why? Where did first off? How was all of a sudden now we found money that we couldn't somehow come up with before when we supposedly bought the track
Yeah,
and
I have
passed
no
out
idea where
schedule
they got the
cards?
money from.
Okay, and now you're looking
I
at
wondered
an
where they were getting
event.
the money from before.
Like now, I did a safe guesstimate. Okay, of $30,000 to $40,000 in purse money for each purse.
I saw your post under Drake.
Yeah. Okay. So then you add that up. You're looking at $132,000 just in purse money. Where's that coming from?
Yeah, because every car gets at least goes home with, if you don't qualify,
Right.
you go home with
Everybody there goes
$175.
out.
Right, and they're
$175.
saying 210 cars
212
for
cars or whatever.
210
cars.
for 3 division. You're not going to get that. No way, because
it's 4 divisions, right? Or is it 3?
modified sprint cars and sportsmen, right?
Sportsman, okay.
Right, but where are you getting 210 cars from? Utica Rome did a $1,000 to start race. Okay, we started 24 cars or 28 cars, whatever it was. We did a B main that paid $200, and what were we getting at max? 50 to 60 cars.
Well, you gotta average 70 cars for each
Division.
class. I know that.
There's no way.
Well,
You're not going to get 70 sprint cars that weekend. If in
possible
fact,
to get that many cars, but is it likely? No.
No, it's not.
possible. It's
but
not
how
likely.
many events? Okay, let's look at all the events we see right now. How many events are getting 70 cars?
For a division.
There aren't.
Dale show, maybe
there
one
aren't
of them
many.
got 70 this year. One of
the
them.
Thunder Mountain got 70. Thunder Mountain Show got 70.
He's been close.
Eastern States, the big block and small block classes both had that.
Right.
Over
but,
that.
But again, look at.
But
we're talking 3 races.
that's 2 races out of
3 races
three
out
races,
of
right. Saturday and Sunday in
hundreds
Eastern
out of
States.
hundreds.
Yeah.
Okay, Grandview pays $25,000.
Yeah.
They don't get 70 cars.
The Sixter, Fulton,
I don't
are the
think
ones that
Fulton-
would rival that.
They get 60 cars, 50
Yeah.
cars.
This year was probably the lowest they've had in
Utica Rome
25
pays
years.
$10,000 when 100 laps, and they get 40 cars. I mean, where are the cars coming from? Especially considering you're running against weekly. This is where my argument for the weekly stuff is. If you want to add another big weekend at the end of the year and find a weekend that's open, go for it. But I just don't
Or
think
run a big weekday show.
right. Run a whole week. Do a speed week at Rolling
But when
Wheels.
people are
Great.
committed to tracks for points and whatever their reasoning is, it's just
Whether
their
it's
home
right
track.
or wrong, they're not going
Even
to
if they're
do
not
it.
in a point deal, that's my home track. I go here every Saturday. This is where I'm going.
I think it's a dangerous
You're good.
assumption. I think it's a dangerous assumption that people from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, cars that run those tracks are going to make the trip up.
They're
to
not
Rolling
coming.
Wheels. Those guys aren't coming.
They're not coming.
I don't
Period.
believe
they're
they're
not coming.
No.
Dwayne
just
Howard is
don't-
not
No.
leaving Grandview
the
on a
66
Saturday night.
car is not going to leave Grandview on a Saturday.
Not
to come
happening.
No.
Where they're damn near guaranteed to get 2750 to come there and
Yeah, you're
risk-
not gonna. I don't see.
I just
that.
don't see it.
I don't see that being
And
a
I don't
wise
see
gamble.
the short track guys that run Thunder Mountain and one night a week at Brewerton or one night a week at 5 Mile and Aqua. Those guys are not coming to Rolling Wheels.
Yep.
That's why do Brett shows on the little tracks get more cars than the big tracks? Because ultimately those guys are
I'll tell-
competitive
I'll
on the
tell you-
the little tracks.
I'll tell you what this does benefit, though, and I'm going to play the devil's advocate here for a minute. Where this does benefit is the littler guy, because we're all right off the bat assuming and talking. Oh, well, the Shepherds and the Freezes and the Hearns, they can't leave their weekly tracks, blah, blah. But what's to stop? Somebody like a Bobby Henry or maybe even an Alan Johnson, a Steve Payne, somebody that can go race there for the bigger dollars, because they're not going to risk giving up anything major somewhere else.
Steve
you know what I
Payne's
mean?
not
The
giving up
littler
anything
guy,
major.
and I'm not saying Steve Payne
Justin
will, but I'm
Harris.
just throwing other guys. Harris can't because of the Super Dirt
He needs
Series
serious
deal.
points.
But somebody like a Bobby Henry.
Okay, so you're gonna. Are there 70 of those guys though that are going to do it?
maybe
I don't
Jake
think
Spraker and
there's-
Bobby Varen. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Just
right. But
somebody
where's the money? Like,
who
here's
isn't
the
following any kind of a series. So what about the points at home for one night? Big deal. There's $15,000 on the line here.
How much is
or
the
whatever it
entry
is.
fee?
That's nowhere either. I don't think.
Yeah,
I
haven't
don't think
seen-
there is
there's no
one.
information
I
on
don't
the
know.
entry
They
fee.
haven't-
there's no entry
again,
fee.
They haven't said.
Oh wait,
so-
it's on the entry form.
So
yeah. I got a copy of that
again,
right here.
there's
Yeah.
so much more information that has to be released, because they are still arguing the point that where they're not conflicting. This has been their whole argument all along on Facebook with their comments. They're not
what?
conflicting with anybody. They say they're not running against anybody. That's why I'm trying to wait to see what happens.
How
with the
can you
schedule.
not?
I'm just telling you what.
What are you
they're
running
saying.
at 9 in the morning?
You said you read all those comments. You had
I
to see
did.
it.
I did, and I still believe it's a load of crap. I just got a call from a private number. It's probably them calling me. I just, listen. I don't.
Man, I almost
I
wish
don't-
you answered that phone call.
I don't want to see. Like, I don't mind people. I want drivers to get paid what they deserve, but I just don't want this to be a load of crap.
Smoke and mirrors show.
and
I know what
ruin
you're saying.
and ruin everything for everybody, because it's gonna blow everything up if they don't
Let's-
come through. It's gonna blow
But
up.
then they're going to look like a bunch of buffoons.
But again,
let's
it-
just see
but
what
it
happens
hurts-
first.
it-
Let's see what their plan
If it's
is.
legitimate and it helps the sport, fine.
By the
but
way,
if they don't,
by the way, one thing that you didn't factor in when you were talking about who you were going to run against and everything, that that synthetic clay track in Brewerton.
Well, that's not open yet.
They've broken ground on. That's coming.
Yeah, I've heard that's coming.
You know what though?
4 years.
Here's the thing though. Glenn Donnelly has far more credibility than these guys.
That's what I'm saying.
At the end of the day, I would believe Glenn Donnelly before I believe these guys.
That's
at least they have a turnkey racetrack.
John, that's not a well, but what Mike said is not a stretch. That's not a stretch. If you're in a situation where you know for sure that you are going to leave your home track for a program, are you going to go with Glenn Donnelly's on Memorial Day weekend, or are you going to go to Rolling Wheels?
Glenn Donnelly's got to have a racetrack first.
Well, and the other thing is
don't even throw him in the argument.
And here's the other thing,
he's got a piece of property.
Somebody brought up an argument today. Like,
it's been there for 4 years.
How are you not going to go with the groups that have been proven to support you in the past? Like, and again, I'm a homer because I work at Utica, but Utica is my best example because Utica pays so much money. I mean, you got a couple $10,000 to win shows. You've got your 2,000 win weekly. You've got
But that's the same argument that the Rolling Wheels guys are.
But listen, they're not making the same argument because they haven't proven that they can do it. They haven't proven they can even open the damn place. It took them a year to supposedly finally buy the thing.
Just by reading,
the check. Hey,
listen,
listen,
a year yet.
The check is in the mail. The check's in the mail, but I've got T-shirts and I got schedule cards saying we're running Rolling Wheels this year.
Just by reading the comments online, it seems very presumptuous that they think they can dangle a big dollar figure out front and pay really, really deep, and that everybody's are just automatically going to flock to the track.
And when you pull out, the check's in the mail. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean,
it's a bad day.
I'm not going down that road until I see what their schedule is.
I just don't buy it. I'm just not gonna buy it.
What the plan is, I gotta see what their.
It doesn't pass the smell test.
What the plan is first.
And listen, I got a lot of things that don't pass the smell test. This does not pass the smell test.
If they hadn't actually bought the track
test
yet, then I'd be right there next to you arguing with you. But they bought. They bought the track, so want to see what they're doing with it first.
Yeah,
I want
you don't have
to believe
any information to base anything on other than credibility and the fact that they're new. But
right.
I mean, everybody's been new at some point. Some people have done really
well
with it.
Start somewhere, and they started by buying the track. So I can't imagine they would buy the track without having some sort of money in place.
I just don't buy it.
The track's paid for.
Is it?
That's the theory. How much do we know about that?
That's what they're telling us. I don't know for
a fact. They also said they ran the show at Super Dirt Week, and they're full of crap.
I just know that their statement on Facebook is that the track's paid for. They own it. It's free and clear.
That's their statement.
Right. That's what I just said. That's what they're saying. That's the only thing I got to go on.
You know, I've heard a lot of...
Is that the track is paid for.
Again, it's just...
So if that's really that statement is true, then there's money there. So why can't they do this?
Oh, boy.
If they've got the money, then do it.
I got 2 voicemails, so a private number left the voicemail.
It's Orange County calling. They probably want to talk to me.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
No, again, listen, if they do it, more power to them, but I'm not going to believe it until I see it. I've seen too many of these deals in racing, and I've seen too much.
See, that's what I said about Donnelly's deal.
I've been around. Listen, I'm in the same way. Like, when he builds it, I'll believe it.
When he builds it, they will come.
Right, but I just can't. I just can't buy something that it doesn't pass the smell test. And again, we've all seen this smoke and mirrors game before.
Of course.
Again, and if it's successful, great. And I hope it
works.
And I hope it makes racing better. I really do. But
they've got a lot of obstacles to overcome.
Right. And the
you
way
think they're going to pull a move where they say, "Well, we're projecting 210 cars," and what?
Where is that coming from?
Can I finish my thought?
I didn't say anything.
But if they're projecting 210 cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, day of the race comes. Like, well, we didn't meet our projection, so the purse is actually going to be this. We're going to cut the purse once the cars get there.
USNA did that with their purse at the end of the year for the point fund.
Yeah, because
they didn't complete the season, they prorated it.
Somebody just Speed Palace in the forum or in the chat room said, "I believe in Santa Claus too." But hey, again, if they can do it, more power to them.
Yeah, he was walking down Main Street with the Easter Bunny today.
Listen, if they pull this off, if they pull it off and they do the same thing,
and the dancing guy from Little Caesars.
Yeah. I mean, if they pull it off and they do what they say they're going to do, I will be the first one to say they did it. And if they do it without conflicting with anyone and do it the right way, then fine.
Well, let's open the floor right now. I mean, seriously, let's open the floor right now. Let's try and get them on the show. Why not?
Go for it.
I would love that.
Why not?
Whoever they are, we don't know. We don't have any names.
I would like Racer X to come on and be a guest on 31st lap. Why
because
not?
they're supposed to update the Rolling Wheels website with their staffing. So we don't even know who they are, other than that Laguzzo guy. We only know his name because of the March deal. And I know the name, the first name is Corey of the person that's posting on the Facebook page, that's representing the Facebook page, because they put their name as Corey on there.
Well,
they said their first name was Corey, but we don't know Corey.
I'm on the Rolling
Corey
Wheels
who?
website. If you need to contact someone, please contact Jeff Hockman at dirtcar.com.
Yeah, and this looks like a press release from. Yeah, this is definitely a press release from World of Outlaws.
Yeah,
that's
Super
on the
Week.
front page.
So again, we'll see.
How old is this?
But
press
the
release?
only 2 pages is home and Super Dirt Week. There's no other pages on the website right now.
Well, schedule works.
There they. Okay, I got them.
There you
up
go.
now.
Your computer's a little slow. So
Oh, you're on the actual
mistake.
website.
Yeah. Contact us. What'd you say it was? One Speedway Drive in Weedsport.
Yeah.
Physical address.
Yeah,
is Grand Avenue.
I was on the website a couple of days ago, and it hadn't changed at all. Supposedly, they're working
tickets.
on the website.
If you click on tickets, it goes directly to World Racing Group.
Yeah, tickets for the May weekend that they're advertising or talking about on Facebook. Tickets go on sale November 10th. Nobody knows how much they are, though.
I don't know. Well, that'll be a secret. You got to Facebook them to get
that's
that
like
too.
11 days away, and nobody knows how to get them or how much they're going to be.
I think it's interesting that the frequently asked questions. There's nothing in here.
Who's the owner of the racetrack?
Who owns this place? That's not in here. That's not addressed.
Yeah, nothing's been updated. So all right.
Yeah,
So it's
supposedly
still-
they're working on it, but they've been saying that all week. So, I mean, they've been saying that since like Sunday or Monday.
I'm just tired of. We're
They've
going to
been
tell you
saying that
tomorrow.
since
We're going to tell you tomorrow. We're going to tell you tomorrow. We're going to tell you tomorrow. No,
Yeah.
you're not. You haven't told me anything.
Well, they just
The
called
ol-
you.
The only thing they've told us
That
is
would be
about
funny.
the
Tomorrow came.
That would be funny if that is. That would be awesome.
All they've told us is about the Memorial Day weekend event, but we still don't know what that event is, what
No.
it entails, what
It's
it
a pay
consists
dirt.
of.
It's a pay dirt
Pay
double
dirt race.
double elimination
Tournament.
something.
It's a
I
tournament.
saw the.
It's a tournament.
It's going to be
They
like
explained it to Jamie Weeknick on the Facebook page. Did you read that?
yeah. So you got to run 7 heats.
People, you guys break my balls all year about passing points. They will never.
I just hate
if
when
they
you're
can't figure
tweeting.
out what Dale's doing. They are not going to figure that out.
That is
At all.
complicated. That is
No
complicated.
way.
It is. But again,
I got halfway through that paragraph of what they wrote to Jamie, and I had to stop reading because I was so freaking lost.
all right. I think we've killed this. Yeah,
Is
it is
everybody?
dead.
Is everybody? Is everybody content?
I'm done.
He's turned to glue.
Yeah.
Is it? Has everybody felt that their opinions were exhausted as well in the live
I've had
chat?
enough. Yeah, we're good.
Everybody.
Yeah,
Well,
pretty
I'm waiting to form one.
I've formed it, and I will stand by it. And if I'm wrong, I will. So be it. If they have a race, who's going? I won't be because I will be at my regular.
We shall see. I hope they give us more information soon because tickets go on sale in 11 days. I'm not buying a ticket to something I don't know about.
What does the ticket look like?
That's a good question.
It's an e-ticket. It's attached to the bottom of the entry
What
form.
I want to know is what I really want to know is the ticket refundable.
Non-refundable.
Is the
Yeah.
ticket?
It better be refundable.
Can I refund this ticket?
Hey, listen. You
John,
can take
John,
back
can-
anything you want to a store that's out of business.
Is this ticket refundable? What ticket?
What ticket?
What ticket? You didn't buy a ticket. I have no record of you buying a ticket.
Who are you?
You
What
get-
are you even talking
You get
about?
it in the mail and it's made with crayon.
This is good for one seat at Rolling Wheels on Memorial Day weekend. Now we're just being asses. But it's funny.
There's dotted lines where they cut it with scissors. Cut it out with
Uneven.
paper. Yeah, filled it in with crayon.
Man.
Wrote the road seat with a marker.
No, we're bad. But, all right, I think that's it. We're done here.
Presented by Crayola.
That's their backer. That's who it is.
Oh, call it a night here. My God. All done.
Do you want to talk about the short track nationals just for a couple minutes? Since
No,
Barney
I'm
was out
done.
there?
I'm done.
You don't?
We're at an hour and a half.
Do you want to talk about it for a minute?
Well, I think we
I
should
don't.
at least
All right.
mention it.
How did
Christopher-
Jason Barney do?
Unfortunately, Jason did not make the A main.
All right,
He finished.
guys, that's gonna do it for this week.
He finished what, 5th in the 3rd B, I
Yeah,
believe.
something like that. Yeah, he was in the mix.
He made it to the B, and they took the top 2 out of the Bs, and he finished 5th in the.
He was in the mix.
B number 3. But I'm
Christopher
glad he
Bell.
went out there. I'm glad he went out there again for the
Yep.
second year in a row.
Christopher Bell. Kicked butt.
Yeah, Christopher Bell won the prelim show on Friday night. The Wednesday show was won by Aaron Reitzel. Thursday was won by Brian Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Past
Blackjack.
Reitzel on the top side, coming to the checkered. He beat him by a nose, like a foot, at the line. And then Friday prelim show was Christopher Bell, and then he won the finale.
Do you want to do it on the show? You want to leave it up for the moment?
What?
Is it a dirty message?
No, shut up. You're a dummy.
It's not Mistress Drake, is it?
It doesn't.
No, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out who it is. It's a private number.
Mistress Drake.
How about we?
What's going on there?
How about we fill
Is that her
everybody in?
Halloween name?
Let's not worry about it.
We'll fill everybody.
Oh, good grief.
Was it or no?
That's interesting. I got a phone call from a school trying to reach a kid's parent. I obviously
Didn't it happen to you before?
Yeah, I'm obviously not anyone's parent. Thankfully. Yeah.
Yeah, except the cat, and then you lose him.
No.
Oh, come on. That was a low blow.
She's back. She's good now.
You're old enough to
I
know
only said it
better.
because the cat wasn't dead.
You're old enough to know better.
Never even left the house.
You were 15 years old when Alan Johnson started that streak.
Man, he gets older and older. So,
So we
it
started
wasn't
in
a
85,
harassing
huh?
phone call. Darn.
Bummer.
I would have said we got contact info.
Oh, good grief.
Oh well. Anyways,
All right, Charlotte this weekend. We will not
Yep.
see you guys
Nope.
next Thursday.
No. Well,
Yeah.
we'll.
you'll be here for what? 10 minutes?
Yeah, we'll be here for something short. I mean, everybody's going to be paying
You ought to
attention
get
to Charlotte anyway.
you ought to get your partner in crime there to come in with you.
Which
Mitch
one?
Post.
Mitch.
Rich.
No. Rich.
Mitch.
I don't think Rich is coming out.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I'm just going out on a limb.
You're probably
I think
taking the safe road
I think that assumption is a safe one.
Yep.
136 in the books. That'll do it. We're going to be here with something next week. I don't know what. I don't know if we're going to
We'll
get the
have a-
Rolling Wheels folks next week or not.
Have a good show.
I'd like to wait. I'd like to wait until everybody can be here.
Yeah,
So
I
now-
would like to be here for that too. It's
Yeah.
going to be a couple weeks anyway.
Yeah, so it'll
Because
be a
you
couple.
said the 13th there's no
Hey,
show.
don't worry. We'll be back in time and tickets will be on sale.
We're
Maybe for the 20th.
we'll.
That's
So
not
you guys have fun in
Thanksgiving, is it?
Charlotte. You guys have fun in Charlotte, and then the week after that we are
That's the
off.
week
The
before
13th of November.
That works
the
for
13th
me.
of November we're off.
So we'll be here the 20th and then off the following Thursday for Thanksgiving, right?
Probably so.
No,
Yep.
the Thanksgiving's the following week.
So stay tuned. We'll get you the schedule. We'll keep everybody in the loop.
Thanksgiving's
But
the
next week anyway, you guys have fun in Charlotte.
Yes.
And that's I think that's going to do it for
That's
us.
it. It's a wrap.
See you later, guys. Thanks a lot.
Schlong.